Shock 'em Starcraft.
Little balls of energy at whatever comes near it, and that was the photon cannon. And it's also, units can go invisible in StarCraft 2. They can be invisible, and it's a detector. And what this cannon does is, if there's an invisible unit by it, it can see it and it can shoot it. And when it can see it, your other units can also see it. So cannons, we'll show you how powerful the cannon is. Took out that probe in 2 shots, so I'll grab another probe. So that's going to be your defense as Protoss. But just remember, cannons cost 150 minerals. So if you're using 150 minerals on a cannon, that's 150 minerals you could be using on units. Like, you could warp in a Stalker, you could warp in 3 sentries as long as you had 300 gas, and you could warp in a zealot and a half, like just warp in the legs of a zealot and just send it somewhere else. Just the legs. No, but and then let's go into the advanced structures a little bit here. In order to get to the advanced structures, you'll see that we had to build a cybernetics core. And we're going to click this area. It's V for advanced structures. And Twilight Council, Stargate, and Robotics Facility. We'll go to the Stargate because this is pretty obvious. The Stargate builds air units, and the Warp Gate builds ground units. And let's warp in another sentry down here, because I want to show you a little bit about the sentry unit. This unit is pretty darn sick. Let's get our guys down here. Let's pretend at this point that we're playing against Protoss and these are bad guys. And these bad guys want to get into our base. What we do if we have these sentries at the top of our base, they're entering our base. Down here they have abilities. They're like spells. They're like things you can cast as that unit. And there's the Guardian Shield and there's the Force Field. Right at this point we're going to want to use the Force Field. If we click that, we can select right on this hill. And now these units cannot get up here. That's a force field that doesn't allow them to get by. And we could have units here attacking them while they're trying to get up here. And if these zealots can attack from a distance, then they have that much less of an army. So we have the force field that we can continue to place down. If you see that, they can't get by it. It's definitely a really fun part of the game that you can, when you're in battles, you can use. But also you'll see there's a Guardian Shield. Let's say this was part of your army, and this is your army, you're going into battle. When you select your entire army, you'll see these spells down here, because it automatically shows you the spells of any units in that group. So you can use the Guardian Shield. And I'm going to go ahead and use that. I press G, and now I can walk around with this shield. This shield will take any extra damage. It'll take extra damage from the attackers, so that these units will take less damage. And that's a really cool thing about the Guardian Shield. So those sentries are very useful, and they also can attack. They can also attack. It's not that strong. See, they can attack the Zealot, and they can attack air units. So this is the Stargate, which you can build air units from. The Void Ray. And we're going to chrono boost the Void Ray so that it can build a bit faster. You can't chrono boost things twice, like twice in a row. See, if I just continue to chrono boost this, which I'm trying right now, it's not going any faster. But say I want to build this. The chrono boost does work on the warp gate, so that this cooldown will go down a bit faster. But now we have this air unit here, this Void Ray, it's called. And you can see now that they can attack air, the sentries, but they're not that effective against it. And the sentries are mainly useful for their force fields and Guardian Shields, but the Void Ray is an air unit that can attack air or ground. So you'll see here that if I attack this pylon, if you notice the animation of this Void Ray, see how that beam just got that much thicker? That means it's doing a lot more damage, and it's charged up basically. So you see how it doesn't have this thing widened? Let's attack this stuff. Oh, let's back up a little bit so you can see it. Okay, see how skinny this beam is? It's only doing a small amount of damage. See how it just got a really quite thicker? That means it's doing like, I don't know, twice as much damage or something. I'm not sure exactly how much, but one Void Ray can be very effective against buildings. Because look at this distance. It can shoot that distance. And there's just so many cool units in this game that it's really fun to play, because there's people of all different... Oh, look at all that. Dude, this is low graphic settings, and it's mad sick. But, there's 3 different races, there's tons of units, there's tons of different things that, you can do in this game. See how these run out of Vespine gas? So I'm going to put them over here on the minerals. And we're going to get this other unit out. It's a Phoenix. And the Phoenix is pretty cool, because if you'll see that it attacks while it moves. It can be flying and it can be attacking, but it can't attack ground units. Look, it's trying to attack this ground unit. I can't attack ground units with the Phoenix, but it does have a spell. See how 66 energy? It has just enough to use this. So as 50, it costs 50 energy. So I'm going to click this or press G. Notice G is in brackets. So I press G and I click one of these units. I pick up the Stalker, and you notice how the Stalker is just floating in the air? That allows your other Phoenixes to attack that Stalker while it's in the air. You can't attack ground units when they're on the ground, but why not just pick them up, right? No, it has this sweet tracking beam that picks them up. It's really cool. And the fact that it can attack things while moving is really cool. You can't really notice because it's hard to do against yourself. But so that's a really fast air unit. And you see the Void Rays are slower, but they do a ton of damage to ground and the air. So this is a lot of the Protoss units. I'll build one more here. I'll go to Advanced Structures Robotics Facility. Now that that's all depleted, I'm going to come down here. I'm going to build a Nexus. I'm going to build it right here. Those guys will move automatically, and only one guy is going to be clicking Earth. Oh. I guess I'll select one, build, Nexus, and then you put it right here. There we go. So now these probes are just hanging out, and once that Nexus is done, they'll grab more minerals, and they can... Right now I can even build a simulator on this. I can build one there, then I can build one there, and I can come back over here. So at this point, I'm just trying to get this this robotics facility up so I can build another unit for you. And let's build a robotics bay. Let's get an Immortal out here. This is another unit. I will show you this unit. What we'll do is build this. You'll learn about these buildings once you play. It's really easy. I can even make a tutorial on what buildings do what to, you know, help the others build different units. So it's almost out here. We'll get a prism coming after this. Okay, so this is the Immortal. The Immortal is interesting because each unit has their own little perks, and they're better against like one specific type of unit as opposed to another. So the Immortal has Hardened Shield naturally, and the Immortal's Hardened Shield reduces damage from incoming high attacks to 10 if the shields are still up. So what happens if someone does a ton of damage on, see that shield? Any additional attacks while that shield is up, it takes away that damage. So the Immortal has this little perk. It's really good against other units that do a ton of damage. So the Immortal is a bit of a power unit. It can deal a ton of damage and verse armored things, which Protoss is an armored race. You see how everyone has armor on? Verse armored, it does even more damage. It does 22, verse armored 55. 3 shots, it takes out a Stalker. Okay, let's just see what we can do here. We're going to build a Colossus. This will be the last unit I show you. We're going to get that going here. Just a little bit of research. Alright. Okay, this is the Warp Prism. You can fly around with the warp prism and then go to phase mode. Phase mode is interesting. The warp prism doesn't have much health at all. It's like a little fly that if you touch it, it dies. But the interesting thing about it is you can fly this around the map anywhere you want without having to build a pylon and then warp in a unit underneath it once it's in this mode. You can turn it back into transport mode, grab that unit, throw it in, and just continue to go after that. And then once you want to drop that unit, you go to unload all. It's like a little transport ship that can also turn into the phase mode and allow units to be beamed in underneath it. It's just like a portable pylon. And this is the Colossus.